Awesome. Thank you for everyone's patience with that. Thank you everyone for joining this evening. My name is Danny Gallagher. I'm Hillsborough County's project manager for sustainability and disposal operations, formerly the recycling coordinator, recently promoted. So we're looking to hire that position if you know anyone interested. But tonight we'll just talking trash and recycling. If you have any questions at all, put them in the chat. We can talk to them at the end. I want this to feel like an open dialogue discussion. And feel free to put them in the chat. So just a quick background about Hillsborough County. We go back and forth every year as the third and fourth largest county. We have about 1.5 million residents. We only have 3 incorporated cities, Tampa, Temple Terrace, and Plant City. The remainder of the county is considered unincorporated and serviced by the county government. Our service area, so I know the Unity Church is like right on the border of the city of Tampa, so that's an unincorporated Hillsborough County. If you live outside the city, you're one of our customers. We have 320,000 customers. We're one of the largest service areas in the entire county. In the state. So if you live in any one of these 3 colored areas, you are a Hillsborough County customer. You should have a black trash cart and a blue recycling cart. The city of Tampa is a different service area with different collection rules, different guidelines, and they have a blue trash cart and a green recycling cart. So we both have blue carts, but theirs is for trash, ours is for recycling. We collect different things for recycling. If you have a missed pickup and you live in the city of Tampa, you're not going to call the county and vice versa, for a missed pickup or a cart repair or something like that. So it's really important to know the service area you live in before we even get started. So unincorporated Hillsborough County customers have twice-a-week garbage collection, once-a-week recycling collection, and once-a-week yard waste collection. You have one of our 3 haulers, Republic, Waste Management, FCC, Environmental. City of Tampa customers actually get picked up by the city of Tampa. So they actually have their own fleet, their own trucks. Those are drivers on city payroll. We contract privately. Our solid waste department has almost 200 staff members, a customer service team, a sustainability team, a contracts team. And how are we funded? How do we operate? We have an enterprise fund, and what that means is we're not actually paid we're not funded via taxes like a lot of other government operations. We get funded via 2 assessments on your tax bill. They're just assessments, but they're assessed on your tax bill. You have a disposal fee and a collection fee. So a fee to pay for the actual 4 times a week collection times 320,000 households. That's 1.2 million collections every single week we oversee. And then the disposal, where does it go? The landfill, the waste energy facility. Along with that, so what does Hillsborough County own and operate our assets? We have a landfill. I always like to ask, where do you think your trash goes? And actually, majority of your trash goes to what's called a waste-to-energy facility. So we actually burn a majority of trash in the county. A lot of residents don't know that. Florida loves to burn trash. We have about 11 burn facilities across the state. Across the whole country, there's only about 50. So 10% is that 20% right here in the state. We have 2 transfer stations that actually transfer the trash that's collected in your neighborhood in much bigger trucks. If you're not familiar, we actually have 5 community collection centers where you can drop off waste that's not collected curbside, like bulky furniture, refrigerators, washing machines, drywall. You just did a home reno. We take that for free for our customers 5 to 6 days a week. We have 2 yard waste processing sites that we mulch the yard waste we collect, and if you have any excess yard waste, you can dump that for free. If you're not familiar, we actually have 2 donation centers at 2 of our sites. The Hillsborough Heights Collection Center, which is I think it's right here. And right here in South County. We're hoping to add a 3rd one here, which will probably be closer to y'all. And we have 3 household hazardous waste collection events monthly. If you're not familiar with that, we take hazardous waste first 3 Saturdays of every month, and I'll talk a little about that later. But I know we're here to talk about recycling, so this is where if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, save them for the end. Just want to talk about some benefits of recycling. Ask yourself right now, normally if I was with you in person, I would want to have more intimate conversation and, ask the audience, but ask yourself, what is recycling? What does it mean? And then what is the importance of it? If someone asked you right now today, why recycle, what would you say? Well, recycling first is taking things that would have been trash and turning them into something new. It's taking your old paper, your cardboard, your soda cans, and basically using them as raw materials. So a manufacturer would normally go to overseas, a lot of bauxite, which is how you get aluminum, is found in India. mine it, extract it, benefact it, and ship it back over here to make sheets of aluminum, make the cans and all that. So instead of taking raw virgin materials, we're actually taking what would have been waste to make new products. So that's what recycling is. Now, why is that? What is all that effort worth for? One, reduces the need for landfills. Number one reason for recycling. I have a background in engineering. I'm a data junkie. I did some calculations that our recycling program has actually turned 10 last year. Our single stream recycling program that we've been operating since 2013 has diverted enough material from the landfill that we've actually added between 1 to 2 years of life to the landfill. We actually calculate every year how much life the landfill has. Because if you don't know, a landfill is just a big mountain. It's just a hill of trash, and it fills up. Just like water, trees, oil, all that natural resources, space is a resource. There's only so much space on the planet. We can only landfill so much. All this trash we throw away every day has to go somewhere. And by recycling, you divert it away from the landfill. And so the 10 years of recycling we did has actually added life to the landfill. I don't have to tell you how expensive real estate is in Florida and Hillsborough County. Imagine trying to build inside a new landfill. There's a reason a landfill hasn't been permitted in like 20, 30 years in Florida. It's just so expensive. So recycling, burning trash is the way to keep it out of the landfill. Recycling also reduces pollution during manufacturing. It's much easier to make a soda can from an old can than from fresh virgin raw bauxite, aluminum in the ground. You conserve all this energy, water, and other resources. It takes a lot less water. And you might have this question already. I get asked, well, is it worth rinsing your bottles and cans? Isn't that a waste of water? It takes a tremendous amount of water at the front end to make a water bottle, to make a cardboard box, to make a soda can. Then if we just recycled that little quick rinse, making it clean, saves a ton of water. Recycling shown to reduce litter and avoid greenhouse gas emissions. And one you might not think about is actually how recycling improves the economy and creates jobs. Recycling creates 10 times as many jobs from studies have shown than landfills or waste energy plants do, from the manufacturing, from the transportation, from the sorting, all that. And you're actually adding to the supply chain. It's so cool to think about that when you recycle a soda can, that you could be drinking from that same can in as little as 8 weeks. You've created jobs, you've saved emissions, you've saved resources, and you've actually added to the supply chain. So this is where you might have your questions. The next 5 slides, I'm going to break down recycling by material. Unfortunately, you go to some businesses or malls or things like that, all their little bins will just say metal or paper or glass, but there's only certain types of paper and metal and plastic that are actually recyclable, and this is for our curbside program. So if you're an unincorporated Hillsborough County resident, you have a blue recycling cart, this is what you can recycle. So starting with fiber. We take paper, cardboard, and paperboard. Cardboard boxes, junk mail, cereal boxes, pasta boxes, paper towel and toilet paper rolls, paper egg cartons, not the styrofoam ones, paper bags, newspaper, magazines, clean, non-shredded paper. Even junk mail with the little plastic window, that's okay. Even a pasta box that has like the little cellophane window, that's okay. You can rip it out, but we take that. So what about paper we don't take? I do get asked is we don't take paper towels, paper plates, napkins, shredded paper, tissue, low-grade paper. You might have a question about pizza boxes. A lot of pizza boxes, the top is usually clean, and you can rip off the top. A lot of pizza boxes today actually come with like wax liners on the bottom, little wax like seals that to prevent the grease. But if you have to ask yourself, is this too dirty? Just put it in the trash. City of Tampa has a pretty low tolerance for pizza boxes. So if you do live in the city of Tampa or know someone who lives in the city of Tampa, they do not want pizza boxes. So even if it's as clean as you think it is, they might consider that contamination because their contractor doesn't take it. So all of our recycling programs are based on who does the recycling for us. All we do is collect and educate, but someone on the other side actually does the recycling, and they sell it and sort it and all that. So we're kind of at the mercy of their contracts. And their contracts are based on the markets. Is there a company that can actually take this stuff and do stuff with it? How clean is it? How much material they're getting? So that's fiber. So if you have any questions about fiber, put them in the chat or save them, write them down. Plastic, we take bottles, jugs, tubs, and containers. Again, for Hillsborough County customers, bottles, jugs, tubs, and containers. So yogurt cups, detergent jugs, things that we say with like a narrow neck, like a shampoo bottle, a water bottle, a 2 liter. milk jugs, juice jugs, and then containers like you'd get like fruit in, or Folgers, like a Folgers coffee container, or like a Planter's nut jar nut container. But there's a million things made out of plastic that are not readily recyclable. Plastic forks and cutlery, straws, styrofoam containers, takeout containers, delivery packaging, like Amazon, the bubble wrap, those manila film like folders that they're lined with bubble wrap, the stretchy film plastic. If you go to, not to particularly call any like brands, but like, Starbucks or like a Burger King or anything like that, they give you those to-go cups. The straw lidded cup, none of that is recyclable. It's not readily acceptable. There's no end markets for them, and they're single use. They sit in a landfill forever, unfortunately. Items that are acceptable but are too dirty, like a peanut butter jar or a mayo jar, you're never going to get that clean enough. Don't waste the water. Don't waste your time, paper towel on it, all that. Just throw that in the trash. We want to make recycling easy and accessible. Bubble wrap, and our biggest contaminant, and this is across the country, is plastic bags and bagged recycling. Putting clean, recyclable stuff in the bag, unfortunately, is considered contamination, and I have a video later that'll kind of explain why. But plastic bags can mess up our machines. So what we take, again, is hard, rigid containers of plastic. So your bottles, your jugs, easy. And when in doubt, just leave it out, throw it out. As I said, there's many things made out of plastic that we don't take. So how about metal? So similarly with fiber and plastic, the metal we do take is basically just cans. Your aluminum, steel, and tin cans. Give it a quick rinse. Give it a, make sure it's clean. If you can, make sure you don't cut the whole, lid off and keep it attached. But plenty of things made out of metal we find in our recycling bins when we're doing audits and things like that. Well, aerosol cans, aluminum or tin foil, pots and pans, pie tin trays, or if you have like a big cookout or like on Thanksgiving, you got the big metal cooking tray that's full of oil or water, hot water or whatever. We don't take any of that stuff. And then electronics. And you might have seen this in the news. They're the number one cause of fires across the country. Rechargeable batteries, lithium batteries, lithium ion batteries, found in everything from hearing aids to greeting cards to your cell phones. They all have rechargeable batteries in them. All it takes is a little bang or a lot of heat from compaction, and it can start to spark and start to smolder, and you have a lot of flammable material like paper and things like that, plastics, and you can get a fire. You might have seen in the news about a year ago, the city of Miami-Dade County, they had a huge fire at their waste facility. That could have been caused by a number of things, but it could have been electronic, could have been hazardous material, some sort of flammable material. But we've already had, I think, 10 plus fires this year, and we're 5 months in. I think last year we had 10 total across the whole year. We've already had 10 5 months in. It's just batteries are everywhere. So make sure you dispose them correctly. Hillsborough County takes batteries from all customers, all residents, 6 days a week.
Okay.
What's next? Glass bottles and jars. So similarly, we take food and beverage grade, and that's with most of these materials is it's food and beverage grade. All colors, clear amber glass. You can leave the labels on. You don't have to rip those off. I get asked that. Just remove the caps and the corks and the metal, plastic, and we can recycle it. But plenty of things made out of glass we don't take. We don't take Pyrex or like lasagna trays, candles, crystal, or like mirrors, ceramics, windows, those types of glass we do not take. Reuse, donate if you can, but when it comes to recyclable glass, it's food and beverage grade, clean, give it a quick rinse, and again, important to know where you live because a lot of places don't take glass. The city of Temple Terrace in kind of central East County, they stopped taking glass about a year ago. Their program no longer accepts glass. Is glass recyclable? 100%. But based on markets and costs and things like that, they decided to drop it from their program. And so by putting it in there, you're wish cycling. You're hoping it's going to be recycled. You know it's recyclable, but if their program doesn't take it, you're actually costing the city and ultimately you more money. So it's important to keep things that are acceptable in your program. Don't try to add things, based on what other programs can take. And then lastly, we do take cartons. So milk and juice cartons, give it a quick rinse. You can leave the caps on. City of Tampa did take these, but dropped these about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. That's why it's really important you review recycling rules at least once a year, because things can change. So here's just kind of a quick fact sheet. Remember, items are going to be empty and dry, loose in the cart. We have these online if you want to print them out. All items we do take. And then this repeated mantra to yourself is, when in doubt, leave it out. And we're not saying throw it out, because some things don't belong in the trash. But if you have to ask yourself, is this clean enough? Or it's one small thing, what's the worst that can happen? Or it's made out of metal, it should be recyclable. Hillsborough County collects 10 million pounds of material from a recycling program every single month. Think about how light paper is and empty water bottles are. That's a lot of material. We can't go through every single load and bag to find the good things and the wrong things. It's just more efficient to reject the load. And that's kind of how this process works is your home is on a route of about 1,200 other homes. That's a lot of homes. These are like 10-ton trucks. And what they do is they bring it to a facility, they empty it. Someone actually grades the material to see how clean it is. If it's too dirty, they'll actually reject it. They say this is going to mess up our machines, or it's dangerous, it's going to impact staff. It's just easier to load it up back in the truck and deliver the trash. And so unfortunately, when residents say, like, oh, you're trashing my stuff, and I go, no, we're trashing your trash. You didn't put recycling to begin there. You put styrofoam, you put plastic bags, you put, and I have some photos, you'll see, but these are some of our top contaminants, plastic bags and bagged recyclables. Bring them back to a store, switch to a reusable bag, refuse a bag upon, like, if you're getting takeout food, or you're, if you're only going to stop in for a couple things, refuse the bag. Styrofoam again, foam products, soiled items, too wet items, dirty items. We find a lot that load comes to us and it's all wet. It comes out the back. Anything that can wrap around your arm, like plastic bags, hoses, cords, wires, what we call tanglers. They can wrap around machines, shuts the whole facility down. Clothing, shoes, textiles. You maybe have good intentions. You think T-shirts are recyclable, or you're trying to donate them. Unfortunately, that's not how the curbside program operates. They are donatable. Some places recycle them, but not our curbside program. It's designed for just these items you see on the left-hand side. And then similarly, electronics. Electronics do not belong in the trash. They're recyclable. Bring them to one of our collection centers 6 days a week. A lot of stores that sell electronics also recycle them. Keep the batteries out, again, because they can cause fires. So hopefully you can hear this, but I have a short 2-minute video that actually shows the recycling sorting process. It's really cool. Basically, it's going to demonstrate when the materials get collected from your home, where do they go, what happens to them? We need to because you bring it all to us in one bin, the metal, the plastic, the glass. Through a series of conveyor belts of machines and robots and mags and people, we actually have to separate it by material, and so we can bale it and then sell it to a manufacturer who will actually do the recycling. You give us the plastic, the metal, the glass, we sort it by material, we load it into a truck, and then send it to a manufacturer, a pulp mill, a glass recycler. They'll actually make the new products.
Ever wondered what happens to your recyclables after they leave the curb? Materials arrive at the processing center and are placed into a bin feeder system that breaks them up for transport on a conveyor to the pre-sort section of the facility. Here, workers manually remove non-recyclables, tanglers such as this hose, and any items that are too bulky and may damage machinery. Materials then pass through a series of devices that agitate and separate light and fibrous materials like paper and cardboard to a conveyor at the top, and allow three-dimensional items such as containers, jugs, and cans to fall to another conveyor below for further processing. Fiber material moves to a post-sort area for manual refinement, and then falls to the floor as clean paper for compacting, baling, and shipping to market as raw material. Larger plastic and metallic items move on to an optical scanner, which identifies PET plastics, like water bottles, and separates them from other plastics and metals using high-pressure air jets. Plastics 3 through 7 and metals move on to another post-sort section for manual refinement of the materials. Plastics are pulled into separate bins for final baling. Ferrous and non-ferrous metals pass through another machine that pulls them from the stream using powerful magnets. Sorted and baled recyclables are then sold back to companies all over the world to be used as raw materials to manufacture new products. Remember, only clean, dry, and unbagged recyclables should be placed in your blue cart in order to ensure successful recovery at the recycling facility. Trash the bags and other tanglers to keep them from jamming the recycling equipment and bringing processing to a halt. For more information about what can and can't be recycled in your blue cart, visit hcflgov.net/recycling.
Hopefully the sound came through clear. Again, that's our, a quick 2-minute tour of our sorting facility. You saw the magnets that pick up the metal. You saw the staff at the front end that actually try to grab the contaminants off the line, kind of like I Love Lucy. When things are moving really fast, it moves at 3 to 4 feet a second, and these guys got to grab fast. And so one of the reasons we don't accept bagged recyclables is for their safety. Broken glass, needles, hazardous waste. They're grabbing things fast, and for their safety, we see bags at the grading process. We reject it to protect them downstream. Similarly, all these machines need to have the materials loose in the cart so they can be positively sorted. And when you have it in a bag, the machines, the magnets, you saw the robot that actually can read the belt for PET water bottles, and will actually launch a little puff of air to launch the water bottle into its own bin. And so it can't do that if it's in a bag. And same thing for the sorters to grab things. So that's the major reason why we don't have we can't accept bags and plastic bags. Hillsborough County collects 10 million pounds of recycling every single month from our program. It's very expensive for the contractor to shut the whole facility down and cut these bags out, and dangerous. These guys actually have to crawl up in these machines and cut these out one at a time. And for, again, batteries, hazardous waste that can start fires. These are members of our community. They want to get home to their families. They want to be safe. And part of that is responsible waste disposal. It's knowing things that we buy, having the correct end of life for the item. So always ask yourself, where does it go? Where does it belong? And get it to the right place. So the major reasons of contamination. I just like showing these photos again. The tanglers. This is not a staged photo. This is a photo I took. A resident was trying to recycle all these plastic bags, a car seat, toys, a waste bag, a laundry basket. I don't know if they're treating like a donation bin or not, but this is not recyclable. You're actually contaminating the stream. And so it's really incumbent on us to educate others, our neighbors, our HOAs, and to put more good in the bin to decrease their bad. Just to illustrate the negative effects of contamination is you get less materials recovered to the market because I have to trash the stuff. You can damage the equipment, very expensive equipment. You have the increased risk of fires and hazards to the staff. We want to protect them. And you might see a lot in the news, the distrust in programs like recycling doesn't work, or communities are dropping recycling programs. Recycling works when it's done right. It really does. It protects the landfill. You're reducing emissions. You're creating jobs. It's one of our tools for sustainability to have resources for the future. Contamination can also increase processing costs because basically we bring them trash. They have to load the trash back up and then bring that trash back to us. So make sure which is very expensive and time consuming, a lot of labor involved. Another thing is drivers are just getting so expensive to hire because there's so little of them. Not many people have commercial driver's license. So the ones that are there are very expensive, especially when you have competitive agencies like Amazon and UPS and Uber and things like that. It's much more lucrative for them to be that type of driver than to be a garbage driver. Decreases value of the outbound materials. So when we try to sell those bales, those big cubes you saw, if we try to sell paper to a paper mill, and they go, this paper's wet, or it's full of plastic straws and things like that, they're going to say, I don't want your paper anymore. I'm going to go chop down this tree to get paper. We want to encourage them, not just quantity, but quality. So we want them, recycling works when they demand it from us. So if you take away one thing for this presentation, is don't bag your recyclables. So I have some slides at the back of the presentation, but I'm not sure how much I know we're about 30 minutes in. So I'll keep going unless if you want to cut me off at any time for just save some time for questions. Products made from recycling. If anyone asks you, well, what is plastic water bottles actually recycled into? The majority of plastic, PET plastic water bottles actually recycle into clothing and textiles. Next time you shop at Walmart, I don't know if they still do it, but a lot of their vests will say, this is made from 10 recycled water bottles. We can actually break down the bottles into fibers, and so synthetic fibers like you have in polyester and things like that, that can actually be a water bottle. Most soda cans, right back into soda cans, infinitely recyclable. Same thing with glass. If you don't know, glass is actually made from sand. Not just any sand, though, like river sand, namely, or lake sand. And you can actually crush that glass right back up into the same sand it was made from and use it in construction and beach restorations. I see that happening in Australia. Paper does degrade over time in its fiber strength but you can recycle paper into other paper products. Same thing with cardboard boxes into new boxes into paperboard. One just stat that I like sharing about one of the value savings from recycling is recycling 1 can of aluminum saves enough energy to power a TV for 3 hours straight versus making aluminum cans from virgin material. Hillsborough County recycled enough aluminum in 2020 to power a TV for 32,000 years straight. So, and that's just one soda can. So it's just a collective effort. If you ever have to recycle one thing, it's metal, just because it's so energy intensive to make. And there's a little time I just want to talk about garbage. I already talked a little about the front end, but we do burn trash in Hillsborough County. But we are producing so much trash in Hillsborough County, we actually can't burn it fast enough. Our facility that burns trash has been at capacity since about 2015, 2016. So that's why it's so important to recycle. It's so important to reduce your waste. That's even better than recycling. But why do we burn trash? Well, it's been around since '87. This is not a new technology. We burn trash namely to reduce the waste volume. It's much easier to landfill ash than a whole couch. If you can visualize, if you've been to like a fireplace, you put this huge log of wood in the fire. At the end of it, you get the ash. Think about that ash. That saves a lot less space. That takes a lot less space than something bulky. But we don't just let that heat go to waste. We actually capture that heat to generate electricity. Much like how you burn coal or natural gas to make electricity, we're actually using your garbage, which is pretty cool to think about. We also have magnets, huge magnets at the end of the ash conveyor belt that recovers the metal, because metal doesn't burn very well. It takes a lot of heat. And so we're actually able to recover almost 20,000 tons of metal every single year. And it's a lot less emissions because of all the air pollution control technologies from baghouses and electrostatic precipitators and scrubbers and lime agents. The air that comes out the top is well below EPA emission standards, and it's mostly water vapor and CO2. Skip this video, but it's a short video that kind of shows that process I just described. Last but not least is landfilling. We have a landfill located in Lithia, so kind of southeast part of the county. You probably never see it. There's a couple private landfills in the county, but ours is off the road. And how it works is basically the trash, because again, we're producing so much trash in the county that we can't burn it, more goes to landfill every single year. About 41% of the waste in the county is landfilled. And it takes up a lot of space. It smells terrible. You can't build an airport within a certain distance of a landfill because so many birds they attract. It produces what's called garbage juice, leachate. All the water that touches a landfill is considered toxic by state law and I think federal law, and it has to be cleaned. It's very expensive to clean and treat. And so when you think about your trash just goes away, gets picked up, it's gone. You don't have to see it, out of sight, out of mind. There's a lot of work, a lot of engineering, a lot of regulations that have to be met to protect human public health, protect the environment, and to make sure we're still doing this cost effective. One of the cool things we actually implemented was a leachate evaporator. I think only 2 landfills in the whole state has something like this. We basically saw, hey, leachate's expensive to get rid of. Wastewater treatment plants don't want it. We have all this gas that's also produced by the landfill, another byproduct of the trash that you got rid of. And so we're like, let's just use that gas to evaporate the leachate. And so most landfill gas is actually methane, like natural gas. You combust it, and you can create power and heat, and we actually evaporate the leachate. 50,000 gallons a day. Reduce our treatment costs. We reduce our truckload trips. We had all these giant trucks that are transporting the leachate. That, again, this like toxic water that touched the landfill. From 13 trucks a day to 5 trips a day. So again, our landfill is an asset. We do not make money off the landfill. It is not a private landfill. We want to protect it. Anything we can do to keep that out, we want to do. Okay, last slide. Is our services. As our customers, your services don't stop at the curb. You have your twice-a-week garbage, once-a-week recycling, once-a-week yard waste, but you also get 10 cubic yards of bulky waste for free disposal at one of our 5 community collection centers. That's like your drywall and your if you did a home renovation, you have tires, you have a refrigerator, you have a couch. We take that for free. We also have a new donation program at some of these sites because we saw so many quality items getting dumped. We actually set up 2 donation sites, which is really fun. I can talk more about that in some of the questions. We collect paint and electronics 6 days a week for all residents for free. City of Tampa residents included, multifamily. You live in an apartment complex for free. We recycle electronics. We have 3 hazardous waste collection events a month. We have dedicated customer service team. If you have a missed pickup, you have a cart replacement needed. We have a senior discount on your disposal assessment. If you're not aware, we have a $60 hardship credit if you qualify. Discount on your assessment. If you have an active community, we actually have a community cleanup grant now for communities. We realized, well, not everyone has a truck or the means or the labor to bring us their couches to get rid of. We will actually bring the dumpsters to you. We make a whole day out of it. We have tabling events. We have program coordinators that come to give out promo items and fun goodies and stuff. And the dumpsters for you to get rid of this stuff. All you have to do is provide, I think, a few volunteers to help. We have a backdoor disability program if you can't roll the cart yourself. I do free presentations like this. As I said, we have a donation program and composting workshops. So I'll kind of leave it at that. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer. Here's the contact information for the other cities in Hillsborough County. If you know some people that live in Tampa, Temple Terrace, Plant City, call them. But I know a little about their programs. If any questions, I just thank you so much for the opportunity again. If you have one takeaway, it's dispose of your batteries correctly, and do not bag your recyclables, do not put plastic bags in the recycling bin, and just look at what you throw away and start to reduce your waste. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Danny. Are there any questions in the chat box? Let's get the chat box.
Here we go. What are the end markets for the plastics you recycle, and how often do they change? Great question. So yeah, the end markets. What that means is the plastic you give us that we collect, we sell it to an end market, a manufacturer. We sell all plastic we collect stays domestically. A lot of it goes to Georgia. Most plastic goes to Georgia, and that's across a lot of the country. Most of it actually stays in the Southeast. Most recycling is consumed domestically in the Southeast. And what's in Georgia? Coca-Cola, a lot of these big brands. So I presume their first state law, the recycling sorters in the state don't have to tell us who they sell it to for proprietary, marketing reasons. Their end markets, they have exclusive deals, things like that. They just don't have to tell me the cities they go to. So I know they're going to Georgia. I know glass goes to Sarasota. And how often do they change? We pay our recycling sorter. They encumber all the costs to market and broker these materials. So that's kind of up to them. What does change, though, I think what we're going to be alluding to is the value of the material every month. We're competing against the quantity, the quality of recovered plastic. We're competing against the price of virgin oil. Like when oil was really expensive a year or two ago, like when gas prices were really high, the value of recovered plastic went through the roof. So it was actually very. We were actually making a lot more money on selling the plastic because they have to ask themselves as a business, should I buy this oil to make cheap plastic, virgin plastic, or should I buy recovered plastic? So just interesting economics with that. Another question was, do they take other items at donation sites? So if you're coming to one of our sites to donate as one of our customers, we take, it's actually run and operated by Goodwill, and all the things we take is posted on our website, but they take tools and toys and books and a lot of clothing, furniture, small furniture items. We recycle electronics. They don't take any electronics. But it's been a great program. We just crossed the 130,000 pound mark in a year and a half. We have rescued over 110,000 items, and it's been used by over 3,000 donors. So and it's only operated by 2 sites. It just shows you kind of the throwaway living that we have, culture. So it's just, and we don't advertise it a lot. So these are people who are going to dump, and then they get asked, hey, I see in the back of your truck you have this stuff to get rid of. Would you like to donate instead? Get your tax receipt right there. Residents have just been so nice about it. They love the convenience. It's a one-stop shop to dump and donate. We've gotten tons of awards for it. It's a unique program of Goodwill based off of research. And we're talking to Goodwill. There's no other program like this. So it's just a really amazing program. Does anyone recycle water bottle tops? A good question. So if you're in Hillsborough County, you're one of our customers, and you have a blue recycling cart, you can leave caps on bottles. We do take caps in Hillsborough County. City of Tampa does not take caps. Most programs don't. If you have friends and family that live in Pinellas County, City of St. Pete, City of Tampa, even outside the county, they might have a different rule set. I generally throw caps in the trash just because you can't guarantee the cap will be recycled, because a lot of times they pop off, and that's the issue. They could be a hazard. They can end up in the wrong bin, namely the glass bin. So we try to sell the glass. They go, why do you have caps in here? You got shredded paper in here. And so that's the issue with caps, is why a lot of places don't take them. But they can be recycled if they're left, tightly on. So I hope that answered your questions. That was all I see in the chat.
I have another question here.
About the caps. You just answered it. My question was about the caps. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm curious to know why the state of Florida does a burning program and why the rest of the country doesn't adopt that. Why are we the major burning?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it has to do with our situation. In Florida, we have a very high water table. What that means is you can dig a few feet and you hit water. The whole state's basically at sea level. So landfills are very difficult to construct because you have to dig a little bit, you have to bury, and you don't want those to leak and crack. By burning it, you can avoid all that. It's a closed facility, and also it's the fastest way to manage a lot amount of waste in a short amount of time. We're the 3rd largest state. When you produce as much waste as we do every single day, the burn facility can handle a lot of waste. That value, and they're expensive projects. Most states don't have as much, investments as Florida because of that. But I think it's also in part because of the environment. We have to protect our waterways, our water system, and burning is a way to do that.
Danny, this is not a question. This is maybe a suggestion. I think everybody wants to do good for the environment. Would it behoove you guys to somehow get some sort of sticker out on these blue bins that says, put this in here and not that, so that people are reminded every time they lift that lid what is, suitable for that blue bin and what is not?
Yeah, no, it's a great suggestion. I've definitely heard that a lot. I hope people would actually use and read it. I've seen competing research if residents actually look at it, because I think most residents are confident in their skills and will just do what they do. And then there's obviously a funding issue. We have 320,000 customers, even $1 a household, and that might just be for the sticker itself. Is a lot of labor to get that out there, and we always ask ourselves, what else can we spend that money on? But I agree. We're definitely, it's something I like to move towards, the stickers. What I did get a win though is on the new bins. If you're a new homeowner, or you get a cart replacement, we got approved text that's actually in the mold of the cart itself. There's a lot of actually little directions on the cart, like, pointing like towards the road, things like that. It actually says, "Do not bag your recyclables anymore." So that was a nice win we got on top of the carts. But I totally agree. Having pictures and having a sticker, a reminder, could do wonders. For if it moves the needle on someone, then it's a win.
Great. Any more questions? Well, Danny, we want to thank you very much for making this presentation. And if there's anybody out in the virtual audience that would like to visit us here at Unity of Tampa, I invite you to do that. We're located pretty much at Waters and Habana, if you're familiar with the city of Tampa.
Well, thank you all so much for attending, for spending your evening with me. And if you have any questions, I'll share my contact with Hanson, who can share it out. But thank you all so much, and happy recycling, and don't bag recyclables.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.